You are watching Junior Certificate Mathematics lesson. Today we are looking at revision paper 1. This paper is a multiple choice paper, so you should have with you a set of mathematical instruments because that's the resource you are going to use. And then this paper also consists of the multiple choice questions. So we are looking at past exam questions. And the first question says, a brick of volume 200 centimeters cubic has a density of 12.5 grams per centimeters cubic. Calculate the mass of the brick in kilograms. So here you are expected to find the mass, and the mass that you have to calculate should be in kilograms. The volume is given in grams per centimeters cubic. So as you calculate your answer, bear in mind that the question says you are to calculate the mass in kilograms. Let us calculate the mass in kilograms. Density is given as the mass per unit volume. And then the density is given as 12.5. So upon substituting the formula for density, which is D equals to M over V, it will be 12.5. It's equals to the mass divided by the volume. The volume here is 200. So we have to divide by 200. And then you can multiply both sides by 200. Multiply here also by 200 because you are solving for M, not by M but by 200. Multiply by 200 on both sides, so it should be 200 here. And then the 200 here will cancel the 200 over here, meaning you are remaining with M on this side. So M will be equals to, and then you can multiply 12.5 by 200. And then what is 12.5 times 200? Let's just multiply 12.5 times 200. It's 2, 0, 0. This is a 0. And then we have a 0 here, a 0 here. Then 2 times 5 is 10. Carry 1. And then 2 times 2, 4, plus 1 is 5. And then 2 times 1 is 2. So this is what we have. And then the number that we are multiplying, that is 12.5 and 200. There's only one decimal place on this side. So it means from here we'll count one decimal place, meaning we are going to get the number as 2500. That is 2500. And then this mass is given in grams. So you have to convert this into the kilograms because the mass here, which is the 2500, is given in grams. So you have to convert the mass 2500 into the kgs. And then when you convert to the kgs, you divide by 1000. So we are going to divide 2500 by 1000. Let's divide by 1000. The 0 here will cancel this one. The 0 here will cancel this. Then you are remaining with 25 over 10. And then when you divide 25 by 10, you will get 2.5. So the answer is 2.5 kilograms. You go and check in alternatives because this is a multiple choice paper. So you have to make sure that you circle the correct answer. So you check in alternatives. Do you have 2.5 in alternatives? The first alternative A is 0.625, B 16, C 2500. And this is not the correct answer because the 2500 is in grams. The answer says in kilograms. So the correct answer to this question is D, 2.5. This is the correct answer. And then let's go on and look at the next revision question. It says, what is the length D shown in the triangle below? So you are given the triangle here, and then you are expected to calculate the length D. In a triangle where this is 90 degrees, then the side opposite the 90 degrees is what we call the hypotenuse. That is the longest side. It is the hypotenuse. And then the Pythagoras rule says, if we are to label this as A, this part as B, and then this as C, the Pythagoras rule says A squared is equals to C squared plus B squared. So if you have to substitute in here, we can see that our A is 10. So this will mean 10, which is the longest side, squared is equals to D squared. This is a D plus 8 squared. So this is what we have according to the Pythagoras rule. 10 squared equals to d squared plus 8 squared. And then remember, you are solving for d. So we'll make sure that we take all the variables which doesn't have the variable d to one side of the equal sign. So in this case, it will be 100, because 10 squared is 100, minus, and then what is 8 squared? 8 squared is 64. So it's 100 minus 64, giving us d squared. And then we simply say d squared is equals to 100 minus 64, this is 36. 36. The d squared is equals to 36, not d, but d squared is 36. And then to find d, we are to take the square root on both sides. When we take the square root of d, we'll get a d here. And then square root of 36 is a 6. When we multiply a 36 and a 36, you're going to get, rather 6 and a 6, you're going to get 36. So the value of d is 6. You check in your alternatives. Do you have 6? We got an A, which is not the correct answer, and then C 18, D 36. The correct answer to this question is B. So we'll have to circle B. This is the correct answer. Remember, here we are applying the Pythagoras rule, which says A squared equals to C squared plus B squared. That's how you apply the Pythagoras rule. And then what about the next revision question? The total surface area of a cube is 486 centimeters squared. Calculate the length of the side of the cube. So this is a cube, and a cube has got 6 equal sides. So if we were to calculate the total surface area of a cube, it will be 6 times the area of the individual side. So we don't know the area of the individual side. Therefore, the total surface area is given by 6 times x, where x here is the area of a side. So it's 6 times x, giving us 486. And then we can divide both sides by 6. Divide here by 6. 6 into 6 is a 1, so this side will remain with an x. It's equals to, and then 6 into 6 here once, 6 into 4, 0, 6 into 48, it's an 8, and then 6 into 6, 1, meaning x equals to 81. The x here represent the area of an individual face. Remember, there are 6 faces, so we are saying the area of each face is 81. So the question says you are to find the length. So to find the length, we'll simply find the square root of 81, because if we are saying this is a square of area 81, and then this is a side, this is a side, this will simply mean s squared is equals to 81, because the area of each face is 81. So the side times the side will give us the 81. Then take the square root on both sides. When you take the square root of 81, you get 9. So the length of each side will be 9 centimeters. And that's the first alternative. It's 9. So the correct answer to this is 9 centimeters. Let us go for a short break. When we come back, we'll continue with our revision exercise. This time around, we are revising Mathematics Paper 1, and I expect you to be having a set of mathematical instruments, because that is the resource that you will be using in this exercise. And then let's continue with our revision exercise. We are at question number 3, so we are to move to question number 4. Question number 4. Find the equation of the line shown below. So we've got the line shown on the diagram here, and then you are expected to find its equation. The equation of a line is given as y equals to mx plus c, where m is the gradient. M is the gradient, and then c is the y-intercept. By the y-intercept, we are referring to a situation where the line cuts the y-axis. So according to the question that we are having here, the y-intercept is -1. The line is cutting the y-axis at -1. So the value of c is -1. And then you are to find the gradient. And then how do you find the gradient when given a line? You simply pick 2 points along the line and then calculate the gradient. So here we can pick the point 1, 1 because the point 1, 1 is along this line. So we can use the point 1, 1, and the other point lying along this line is 2, 3. 2, 3. All that you need to do is to pick 2 points along the line. So the first point along this line that I can see here is 1, 1, and then the other point is 2, 3. Then we can calculate the gradient. And then how do we find the gradient of a line? The gradient of a line is given as y1 minus y2 divided by x1 minus x2. This is the gradient. So this will simply mean the gradient of this line will be, if we are to take the first point, the value of the first point here to be y1, then it means y1 is 1 minus y2. y2 will be 3 divided by x1. The value of x1 is 1 minus 2. This will give us the gradient. It will give us the gradient. So this is equals to m. And then 1 minus 3 is negative 2 divided by 1 minus 2 is negative 1. So the gradient is minus 2 over negative 1, and this can be simplified to 2 because we are dividing negative 2 by negative 1. So when you divide two negative numbers, you'll get a positive number. So the value of m is 2, the value of c is negative 1. So we can now substitute in the equation y equals to mx plus c. Our m is 2, so this simply means y will be equals to 2x plus, and then what is the value of the y-intercept? Is negative 1. So y equals to 2x plus negative 1, and then we can simplify plus and minus there, giving us y to be 2x minus 1. So the equation of this line is y equals to 2x minus 1. You now check in alternatives. Do we have an alternative having y equals to 2x minus 1? You check. The first alternative, y equals to 2x minus 1. B, y equals to x minus 1. Then C, y equals to 0.5 x minus 1. Then D, y equals to minus 2x minus 1. So the correct answer to this question is A. We therefore circle A. And then, what about the next revision question? It says, calculate the perimeter of the figure below. You are given the figure here, and then you are expected to calculate its perimeter. Remember, perimeter is the area around the shape. So to find the perimeter of this shape, we are going to add all these dimensions around the shape here. We have the 7, and then this side here is a 2, meaning we have a 2 as well here. It's 2 centimeters here. And then we have a 4 here as well. This is 4 centimeters because the line here is equal to the line on this other side. And then 3 plus 3 is 6. But then the side opposite the 3 and the 3 has a 7. So it means the top part here will be 1 centimeter. And then we can now add all these dimensions. 7 plus 2 is 9, plus 3 is 12, plus 4, 16, plus 1, 17, plus 4, 21, plus 3, 24, and then plus 2, 26. So the perimeter of this shape is 26 centimeters. Just 26 centimeters because here we're talking about the length, so it's not area, it's just 26 centimeters. So you check, do we have 26 in our alternatives? The first alternative is 15, B 17, C 18, and then D is 26 centimeters. And this is the perimeter of the shape we are having here. So we'll circle D. That's how we find the perimeter of a shape. All that you need to do is to add the measurements around the given shape. That will give you the perimeter of the shape in question. And then, what about the next revision question? Question number 6. A water bill shows the current charge as 52.38 Thebe. The amount brought forward from the previous bill is 85.14 Thebe. what is the total amount of the bill. So here you are told that there is a bill brought forward and this amounts to 52.38. Now there is, it says a water bill shows the current, this is the current charge 52.38, but then there is a bill brought forward of 85.14. Then it says what is the total amount of the bill. Total amount, meaning you have to add, because it says the total amount. So you add the 85.14 and 52.38. You add the two. So this will be 85.14 plus 52.38. We are adding, so it's a plus. 4 plus 8 is 12, carry 2. 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 1. In fact, we are carrying 1, not 2. So it's 4 plus 8 is 2, carry 1. And then 3 plus 1 is 4 plus 1 is 5. A point here. And then 5 plus 2, 7. 8 plus 5 is 13. So the charge is 137.52. You check. Do you have 137.52? A 34.76, B 104.76, C 137.42, and then the answer that we got is 137.52. So that is alternative D. You circle the alternative. In this case, it's D. That's how you answer this question. And then let us have a look at another question consisting of this paper. It says factorize x squared plus 8x plus 15 completely. So here you are asked to factorize completely. It's x squared plus 8x plus 15. So how do you factorize this? This is a quadratic expression. So the coefficient of x here is 1. So we'll multiply 1 and 15. So 1 times 15, giving us 15. And then you look for the factors of 15, such that when you multiply them, they will give you 15. But when you add them, they give you 8. You look for the factors of 15, such that when we multiply them, they will give you 15. But when we add, they will give you 8. Let us stop here and go for a short break. When we come back, we'll factorize this question. I welcome you from the short break. And we are at question number 7 of our revision exercise, which says factorize x squared plus 8x plus 15. And when we factorize an expression like this, you look at the coefficient of x squared. The coefficient of x squared here is 1. So you multiply 1 and 15. 1 times 15 is 15. Then you look for the factors of 15, such that when you multiply them, they will give you 15. But when we add them, they will give you the middle term. In this case, it's 8. So we look for those factors. The factors of 15 are minus 5 and minus 3. And then the other factors are 5 and 3. Minus 5 times minus 3 is positive 15. It's a negative and a negative, so this will give us a positive. So it's 15. And then minus 5 plus minus 3 is negative 8. It's not positive 8. So we cannot use these factors here. We can't use them. And then what about the second pair? 5 and 3. 5 times 3 is 15. And then 5 plus 3 is 8. So we'll use these factors. So how do we use this? The expression is x squared plus 8x plus 15. And then we are to break the middle term using the factors 5 and 3. And then when we break the middle term using factors 5 and 3, this will be written as x squared plus 5x plus 3x plus 15. 5x plus 3x is 8x. So we now factorize this. How do we factorize then? X squared plus 5x plus 3x plus 15. we'll factorize by grouping. What we'll do here is we'll look at the first two terms, factorize them, then take the last pair, factorize them. So if I have to look at the first two variables in here, we got x squared and 5x, so we have to factorize that. The factor in x squared and 5x is x, and then x into x squared is x. X into plus 5x is plus 5. And then the factor in 3x and 15, factor here is 3, so this will be plus 3. And then we open the bracket. 3 into 3x is x. And then 3 into 15 is positive 5. So what we have is, we have x plus 5 and the x plus 3. So this is how we can factorize that expression. So it's either we'll get it, the answer as x plus 5, x plus 3, or we'll get it as x plus 3 times x plus 5. So we have to look for either the first or the second. Let's check in our alternatives. A, x plus 1, B, x plus 15, this is not the correct answer. B, x plus 8, x plus 15, also not the correct answer. Then C, x plus 2, x plus 6. Then D, it's x plus 3, x plus 5. Let's check if at all that's what we got. Yes, it's x plus 3 and then x plus 5. So the answer to this question is D. We'll have to circle D. That's the answer to the question. We said factorize the expression x squared plus 8x plus 15. All you do is to look for the factors of 15 such that when you multiply them, they will give you 15, but then when you add them, they will give you the middle term. In this case, the middle term is 8. And then after getting those factors, you expand the middle term using those factors. After expanding the middle term, you now factorize by grouping. You should be able to get the answer to the question, similar to this. And then, what about the next question? It says you are to solve the equation 2w plus 4 equals to 20. So how do we solve an equation of this kind? We will have to make sure that all the variables containing, all the terms containing the variable w are taken to one side of the equal sign. And then all the other variables, in this case it's a 4, should be taken to the other side of the equal sign. So we will have 2w, it's equals to 20 minus 4. The 4 has to be taken this side, and then because it's positive, it will be negative. And we will now have 2w equals to 20 minus 4. And then what is 20 minus 4? 2w will be equals to 20 minus 4 is 16. So the 2w is equals to 16. And then divide both sides by 2 because you are solving. Divide by 2. You need to know the value of w, not 2w, but w. So divide both sides by 2. 2 here once, 2 here once. And then we'll have w is equals to 2 here once, 2 into 16 is 8. So w is equals to 8. Not w, but 8. It's saying w is equals to 8, not w equals to w. So w is equals to 8. Check from the alternatives. A, w equals to 6. B, w equals to 8. And then C, w equals to 12. D, w equals to 14. Upon solving this equation, we found w to be 8. So we will confidently circle B in this case, which says w equals to 8. That's how we solve this equation. And then what about the next question? It says, when candidates need to register for examinations, they have to pay a general fee of 40 pula. They should then pay 80 pula for each subject they register for. Kagiso paid a total of 360 pula for an examination. What is the total number of subjects she has registered for? So one, we need to understand that they have to pay a general fee of 40 pula. So before you start paying for a subject, you pay 40 pula. They should then pay 80 pula for each subject. So you pay 40 pula plus 80 pula for each subject that you register for. So let us work it out. It means it's going to be the 40 pula plus 80 times y, it's equals to 360. So this simply means 80y, it's equals to, this is just an equation, so we have to take the 40 this side of the equal sign. It will be 360 minus 40, and then what is 360 minus 40? This gives 320. So we are saying 80y equals to 320. And then divide both sides by 80. Divide here also by 80. The 0 cancels the 0. 80 cancels 80 here. So y is equals to 32 divided by 8. 8 here once. 8 into 34 is 4. So your y is equals to 4. Meaning the number of subjects this person has registered for is 4. So it says what is the total number of subjects she has registered for? First alternative A is 3, B 4, and that's what we got. So we simply circle B in this case. So this person has registered for 4 subjects. We have now come to the end of this lesson, but before I let you go, I want to encourage you to make sure that you revise past examination papers, because they give you the gauge of how the exam paper looks like. So it's very important that you look into past examination papers. From me, till we meet again the next lesson, goodbye.